Translate in case anybody doesn't understand what you're saying. I wanted pigs for my birthday, so we got Smokey and the Bandit, and then Connor fell in love with pigs. And that was the start of our downfall. We got goats. I wanted to make cheese and milk goats, and chickens for eggs and to eat, and ducks for eggs and to eat, and then we'd always get a few orphan lambs, just 2 or 3, just for our own use for the winter. And then the vegetables kind of just naturally progressed then from there. And I suppose it wasn't until we built the house and then we kind of said, right, what do we do next? And a lot for health reasons as well, because at least we know the food we eat, what doesn't go into it.
Yeah, no herbicides, pesticides.
We don't put anything in it. Or like our animals wouldn't be given any growth hormones or fed any particular food to make them grow from a small size to a humongous size in a short period of time, like they are in a lot of big farms. So I suppose for just lifestyle reasons, really, because we both want the same thing.
I had absolutely no farming experience. I came from a big city, big enough city in Irish terms, and I don't know, just got into it more and more as time's progressed.
Where does the honey come from? Like, how does it fit into the whole process?
It comes in boxes. The fit on top of this is a brood frame where the queen lays her eggs, and it comes in a box above that. Supers they're called, where they store excess honey, and we steal it on because they make too much of it, and we leave them with enough to do them through the winter, and then the process starts again, hopefully the next year.
But I think if you come from the countryside, you're more connected maybe to the land. But I think Irish people in general anyway are, you know, they're generally they're a generation or two at the very, very most away from rural living, unless they've been born and bred, like they can trace their roots back to the city. But even in the cities, people would, they would still be farmed out to cousins down the country, as they would call it, you know, for the summer. So I'd say every Irish person has some sort of connection to the land. I suppose we kind of expected it to be happen a lot easier than it did. You know, we weren't experienced enough at the beginning to know, right, here's where you put a polytunnel and here's where you don't put a polytunnel. But it's like everything, you learn through experience, and sometimes you learn the hard way, and that costs you both time and money. Every dinner would be our own salad vegetables, our own meat or fish. We've just started to use our potatoes now. Before that, we would say I would give cheese to a friend of mine, he'd give me some potatoes, things like that, you'd swap.
What would it be in the region of 60 to 80%? Would be that high?
I would say so.
I like the idea of knowing where the food comes from, knowing that our pigs live in a healthy, happy environment rather than a factory.
Make bread as often as it's needed. Brown bread and wheaten bread and soda bread, kind of like an Irish bread, white bread. Connor started making bread as well. Then use as much. What I do now, I tend to do is I'll just kind of go, right, what I'm going to pick from the garden, and that's what I'll make lunch or dinner. Like making chutneys then, or preserving all the vegetables as they come in a glut. We'll try and harvest a good deal of them. We'll say harvest the peas, blanch them and then freeze them. The tomatoes, make chutneys or tomato ketchup. You know, you just try and preserve as much as you can, and then, you know, you use as much as you can every day too. Make cheese from the goat's milk. We use the goat's milk then just to drink, you know, tea or whatever, cereal. I spend most of the summer making food, but I like it, you see. So I enjoy using what we have and making food. So it doesn't really, I wouldn't consider it as being time consuming when I have the time. It's like it's creating something to me, like it's me making something. You have your semi-hard cheese, kind of like a Gouda.
So what are the ingredients for
This,
that? Yeah.
just milk. Milk and rennet in a culture. Culture sours the milk quicker than it would, you know, it's a controlled souring. And then the rennet will add kind of, it makes it thicken up. So then you've got the curds in the whey. You separate the whey then from the curds and you heat it. It's called wash and burn. You add water, it's about 40 degrees around the edge of the pot. And then you stir it with your hand for about 45 minutes until the consistency of the curds become, they're shiny to start off with, they're kind of, you know, silky. And then after about 45 minutes, an hour, they become matte, they become dull, and that's when you know it's time to press the cheese, mould it and press it. And that's it, and then you let it sit and overnight and you press it and you put a weight on it to get a lot of the some of the moisture out, and then with the salt that'll take an awful lot more moisture out. It'll start to weep and it's sitting there. And then you let it mature and you can eat it 2 months later. Or 3 or 4. Whenever you...
How does it change, like the older it gets, how does it become different?
It matures, the flavour matures. There's no flavour of that whatsoever. Like nothing, it's bland. But then, because of the process of making the cheese, the flavour will, time gives it flavour.
She says around on with the chard. Oh, there's lovely little stems on it and spinach.
But it is. It's nice, you know, and it makes you, not only do you feel good because it's your own produce and you know that there's nothing in it, but it actually looks good too. So anything that looks, you know, obviously when you're going to eat something, the smell and the sight of it before anything else is going to turn you on to it or turn you off. So then it's going to, if it looks good, you kind of go, well, it must bloody better taste good.